Hey guys, welcome to Dr. Hampton's YouTube channel. And today I have a wonderful guest who's going to join us today. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I met Russ, who's pictured here at Keto Orlando. And we had a really good time down there learning and sharing messages of healing related to the keto diet. Now, Russ has a very, very, very engaging YouTube channel called Homesick Buckeye, and he is a Buckeye because he's from Ohio,
That's
and
right.
but he's now in warm Florida. And what we're going to do is have a conversation about some keto topics. If you're joining us live, go ahead and in the comments if you have questions for Russ. And the questions for Russ have a lot to do with what is it like when you're starting your journey? You're starting your keto journey, and you're not sure what to do. So think about questions you would ask if you're just getting started. You can be any kind of questions are great, but I just want to kind of tee that up a little bit because I think Russ would be a good person to answer those questions. But before we begin with questions, and I do want to do a shout out to a couple of folk already. That would be D. Lee doing a shout out to us. And of course, all the way in Tennessee, where Ken Berry and the rest of the crew at, we want to do a shout out to you as well. So definitely share in the chat where you're at as we do this live. So Russ, do me a favor, man. You're crazy as they get. Just let people know who you are so people will know a little bit about you and why I just love, hanging out with you.
Oh man, I appreciate that, Doc. Russ Mitchell, Homesick Buckeye. On my channel, we got hijinks and tomfoolery. We like to joke and laugh. There's so many channels out there with science and doctors and information and all those big words, man. I like to cut it up, clown. I do silly songs, characters, but also try to give you some information. And point you in the right direction, point you to those doctors and those scientists that can really help you get where you want to go. Me, I'm just silly. And I share my life. I'm the world's foremost expert on my opinion and my life. So that's what I do. I talk about my opinion. I talk about my life. I parrot the things that I've learned from doctors like you and the doctors that I follow. And I consider myself a ketogenic evangelist. I'm all ketogenic, carnivore, ketovore, metaphor, heretofore, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all the same to me. I want to just spread the message of what ketogenic living can do for you, not just weight loss, because we get pigeonholed into that. Just think, oh, well, I don't need to lose any weight. Yeah, but you're on blood pressure medication. Yeah, but
Right.
on diabetes, medication for diabetes, or you got a relative who's trying to get pregnant, or you got elderly people in your family with dementia or Alzheimer's. I mean, there's just so many things that ketogenic living has helped people with, and I want everybody to know not only what it's done for me, but hopefully what it can do for them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I do want to do a shout out to Cheryl Gordon, Carnivore Today. Uh,
Oh,
want
that's
to do a
my man,
shout out.
Adam Lacey. That's my family right there.
That's your family?
We do the cookout show
Oh,
together.
yeah, that's right. I do remember
Adam,
seeing him.
Talia, and Damon. So yeah,
And you were on his channel, if I recall.
yes, Adam was the first person ever to put me online. Adam saw me and listened to me and heard me and at my channel. And as I told you, there were several people that I reached out to that didn't want to talk to me, didn't want me on their channel for whatever reason. He's
Right.
the first person ever to interview me and debut me to his audience, and I'm grateful and thankful for that. And I probably maybe not wouldn't even be here with you today if it hadn't been for Adam.
Well, this is part of why I wanted to do this, because you have an audience, I have an audience, we all have an audience, but we want them to get to know you, myself, and others who are evangelizing as well. We have the crazy ketovore chiming in. Appreciate that. We got some folk my way in DeKalb. And Ilika was a phenomenal host at
My girl, what's up, Malika?
and
What's up?
she
Hey,
and
listen, we
she
did an Instagram thing together. We did an Instagram thing together. I was at the conference, and I sang a song with her on her Instagram. That's my girl. What's up?
Man, she that girl was dancing the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, when I walked on the stage at Keto Orlando, they played. I wanted to play Common's song, one of his songs, but I ended up going with All My Life. I've been grinding all my life, and
Yeah.
I look over and she was dancing and dancing. That's right. And then a real quick shout out to Cheryl Gordon as
Hey,
well.
Cheryl. What's up?
That's right. We got Julie and we got No Insanity. That's what I'm talking about. I love that.
Yeah. Everybody loves Doc Hampton, man. Everybody
Man,
loves.
it's all good, man. We doing this thing, man. So let's why don't you do me a favor real quick? Let's talk a little bit about um how how do you do this keto thing? Aren't you hungry all the time?
Hungry.
Yeah.
Because every time I close my eyes, I think of food. And no matter what the season is, I still love food with all my heart. And I want to be with food wherever you are. Hey, look, that's how we do it on the Homesick Buckeye Channel. At any given time, we can break out into a song parody. Listen, if you're hungry, family, that's on you. Because eat in this life, you eat when you're hungry. You don't eat when you're hungry. Eat till you're not hungry anymore. That's just what it is. That's the beauty of keto life. You can do what you do.
I like that. So when we did our podcast, and for everybody checking this out, he will be on a podcast, the audio version of which we're going to release next Friday. But let me tell you, this brother is, he's all about moderation. And what he means by that is when during the podcast, you talked about how important it was when certain events, I'm going to do what I do, So why is it important that we give ourselves permission to kind of break the keto rules every once in a while?
You got to live your life, man. I mean, that's a song to live your life. Oh, you can eat what you want. Just live your life. So, I set out to put, with the end in mind. I wanted to put something together for myself that I could do for the rest of my life. I didn't want to just be on a diet. I didn't want to just lose some weight. I wanted to change my life. And that's what I set out doing. And I think a lot of people yo-yo diet and a lot of people stop and start things because they don't think about the end. They go on some crazy diet, they do something and they lose a bunch of weight. And then now what? I can't do this. And so when I was thinking about it, and I was listening to the carnivore community, I don't want to eat meat and water the rest of my life. That's not going to work for me, So I had to find a way to, to do something I could sustain. And that's something I would just tell people, do what you can do, what you can sustain, and then build from there. If you're eating 500 carbs a day, going to carnivore is probably not going to work for you. I mean, that's a big leap. Go from 500 to 300, and then from 300 to 200. I mean, work your way to that. And I think most people that are, down under 10 carbs a day or whatever that live that life, that's probably how most of them did it too. So yeah, that's kind of my overarching, thing. My normal, is under 15 carbs a day. That's my new life. That's what I do 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, listen, on the way home from the summit, man, I stopped at Taco Bell and had a burrito and a sweet tea. On the way home from the keto summit. Okay. Guess what? Next day, right back on it. The difference is that there was a time when I don't think I went 24 hours without a sweet tea or a soda or a sugary drink. That's not my life anymore.
That's
my
fair.
life is different now. So that sweet tea or that one day, I'm down 35 pounds. I can't undo 35 pounds of weight loss with a one burrito and a sweet tea.
You got that right.
And matter of fact, hey, if I lose another 35 pounds, I'm gonna go back and get 2 burritos and 2 sweet teas. How about that? Don't judge me.
And I'll join you. I'll join you on that day. And look at now. Look at this,
hey,
man.
oh, you pay. You got that doctor money. You got to pay.
Make it out of here. Look at No Insanity. She's saying come on, Dr. Hampton, bust a nut. Now, it's funny she say that because I was just sharing with you during the podcast that I was checking out Jodeci.
Yeah.
And I can't sing, but I will say, come and talk to me.
Yeah,
I
there you go.
really wanna know
Yeah,
you.
yeah, come and talk to me. Hey,
Yeah, I love
you
Jodeci. They were
got
good sisters with voices. So no
yeah,
insanity. You stop being insane because you know I can't sing.
see,
Uh,
man.
shout out
Come on,
to
brother. You come on with us. You're gonna have some fun. We're gonna laugh
well,
and smile,
that's what we're gonna do.
our problems for a while.
That's what I'm talking about. So shout out to Dallas. And we got some other folks chiming in. Uh, F.R. Humphrey chiming in
What's happening,
and
family? What's happening?
loving it, loving it. A couple of others, and we're gonna just continue to let folks chime in. Let's
Doing
look at
great.
it. Let's think about another thing. I remember you talking about how we reward our kids,
Yeah.
and we punish them. Talk a little bit about why we don't want to use diet as the way to reward our children or punish them.
Yeah, I did a series called My Overweight Life, and I talked about the things I learned as a child about food, about what foods to eat, when you eat, and that food is used as reward and punishment for kids. You
Hmm.
do something good in school, you get good grades, or oh, let's get some ice cream, let's have some cake. Let's and if you do something bad, and you're not a knucklehead like me, you get sent to bed with no dinner. You
Hmm.
know, so it's one of those things, and then of course the foods that you're taught to love and that you're taught to eat as a kid. I mean, it was just again, it's 50 years ago. I don't blame my parents for not understanding metabolic health and that kind of stuff. But yeah, food is when you're hungry. If you're eating when you're sad or eating when you're happy and that sort of stuff, I don't think that's the best. And also what you're eating as well. I mean, if
Hmm.
you're drowning your sorrows in you know a gallon of ice cream is different than maybe a steak and you know some steak and eggs. So and I'm not against celebratory eating. Look, do I look like a guy that's against birthday cake? Do I look like the kind of guy that would have a problem with birthday cake? Okay, but but again, it's just it's about the normal. What is your normal?
Yeah.
What do you do normally? You
That's
know,
right. And you'll transition, like, once you make love to the, cake, you may feel guilty. We talked about that during the podcast. If you make love to the steak and the eggs, you'll enjoy it, and you won't feel guilty afterwards.
yeah,
And that's the path. Who knew that eating steak and eggs would be the key to becoming metabolically healthy? It's
yeah.
an insane concept, but it's absolutely true.
And it flew in the face of everything I ever learned growing up about nutrition and health and all that stuff. I mean, it's crazy to me. And that's what kept me away from it for so long. I thought it was a fad. I thought it was just something, that you traded your long-term health for some short-term, weight loss. And for years I never even gave it a consideration as a long-term life plan.
That's right.
And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to go on a diet and then and get into something I couldn't sustain. And then what? Great, I lose the weight. Now what? And a lot of folks that get the surgeries and take these medications, they run into that. You know,
Mhm.
you get the surgery, but you don't change your life, you're going to go right back. If you
Mm.
get, you start taking these medications, but you don't change your life. Some doctors say that over time you're going to build a tolerance, and you're going to have to keep upping doses, and then you're eventually going to have to get off of it. And now what?
You
So
know what? First of all, shout out to everybody that's chiming in. Trisha checking in from Chicago, so she's right in my backyard. And others just doing a shout out to each other. I really appreciate all you guys just finding time. It's busy, life is busy, but you guys are
absolutely.
finding time. Do you know I saw a carnivore Damon?
Yeah, that's my man too. He's on the show with us. He's on
That's
the
what I thought. I thought I saw him. Okay,
That's my
cool. So
man D Holly.
he's
What's up,
part of
man?
the team. He's part of the team.
We grilling. We
That's
grilling,
right. That's right. That's right. I
man.
love that. And Ilika chimed in again, and she's so right. That damn food
Yeah,
pyramid, man. It was, a foundation of grains and pasta and
yeah.
bread and cereal. That was supposed to be the foundation of our diet.
That's
And
that's
then
good.
they told us we had to have like 7 to 9 servings of it every day. If you
That's
do that, you're not going to last very long.
I thought that's what was keeping me alive. See, I didn't have any health problems than being heavy my whole life.
Mhm.
I never took a medication other than penicillin.
Mm.
I wasn't sick. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't in and out of the hospital. I didn't have a bunch of health problems. I was just heavy. And
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I thought the fruits and vegetables and grains were why I didn't have any other health problems.
Mhm. Okay.
You know, I'm like,
Right.
if I wasn't eating this, I'd be dead right now.
That's right.
And little did I know that's the stuff that was killing me.
Yeah,
So
I just heard a video, I think it was Sean Baker, and this gentleman, African American, I'm not sure if he was a doctor, but he said that, you know, you have to have your grains. He just insisted, he said it's proven. And I literally did a video on YouTube that talked about how you don't need, you know, fiber. It's just not essential to life, but yet you have people sharing this information, which is why everybody's so confused. But if you just search, you know, you know, Journal of Gastroenterology and put, you know, fiber study, you'll see the study, or check out my video that shares with you that you don't need fiber. Lions don't need fiber. Myself and Russ, we don't need fiber. But for those who want fiber, that's fine, but it's not essential to be healthy. So I think that's really important. So now you know, you started, you say you lost 35 pounds. You're, you know, in that 500 range. Um, Big Russ is who you are
that's right.
now, but
That Papi
are,
Grande.
are they going to miss Big Russ though? Are you ready to give up Big Russ one day?
Well, the thing is, I think I'll always be Big Russ. I'm going to be not so Big Russ. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I don't see myself ever, walking around, slim and trim like, smooth brother Doc Hampton here. But, I will be smaller. So
Okay.
I think I'll always be Big Russ to some extent.
And I like what you're saying, Russ, because you're saying I'm not that obsessed about that scale. I want to
Oh,
be healthy, but I'm
I
not
don't care
obsessed.
about
I
it at
don't.
all. I didn't weigh myself for 30 years.
Mm,
Why do I care now
mm-hmm,
what I weigh? I didn't care for the last 30 years. I'll be honest with you. The only reason I weigh myself is for my YouTube followers.
mm-hmm,
My YouTube, they want to know how much are you down? How much have you lost? Non-scale victories don't always translate that well in the social media world.
mm-hmm,
When you tell somebody, "Hey, I feel better and I've got more energy and I've got," it's kind of hard to quantify that.
mm-hmm.
Kind of
Yeah.
hard to. But when you tell somebody I've lost 90 pounds or that, and the people are like, "Oh." But ironically, when I'm on Zoom calls or I listen to other people that are talking about their experience with ketogenic life, the weight loss is most of the time one of the last things they
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
talk about having more energy,
That's
about
right.
feeling better, about being off of medications. They talk about a lot of stuff. And then they say, "Oh, and I've lost 50 pounds." So I'm kind of that way as well. I don't weigh myself every day. I don't even weigh myself every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care. I can't control how much weight I lose or when I lose it or where I lose it. I just know that living my new life, I'm going to, weight loss is going to be a byproduct of that. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah, that's 100% true. It is not necessary to only focus on that one metric. It's one of the things that's on the list of things we notice, but ultimately, how you feel, are you sustaining it? So if you look at F.R. Humphrey, they're saying, you know, I'm really concerned about sustainability, and habits are things that you create by doing something over and over again. We talked a little bit earlier on the podcast about the importance of counting carbs, right? And so that's a habit that you can acquire that'll create awareness as to where the trouble is. And for everybody that's checking this out, the average American consumes anywhere from 250 to 350 carbs per day. And if you divide, you know, 400 by 4, you get 100 teaspoons of sugar. So just having that awareness that that's what you've consumed is where you start. But any other suggestions about, you know, what's allowed you to sustain? I know you're giving yourself a little permission to cheat every once in a while, but what's a
I don't
sustain?
cheat.
It
I
ain't
don't.
no cheating.
Well, I want to go back to something you just said, though,
Yes,
Doc.
go ahead.
That number seems absurd and crazily low to me.
Mm,
350 carbs a day? Are you kidding me? I eat 350 carbs a meal.
Wow.
I mean, no, I mean, think about this. An average meal at a fast food
That's
restaurant is
true.
150 to 200.
That's true.
So how is the average American eating 350 when just a Big Mac with fries and a Coke and an apple pie is 200?
Yeah, you're right. That is true.
I mean, and that's not including the snacks. And are you kidding me? I could drink 350 carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if a can of Coke is 80, 75 to 100, or I'm not sure what it is. I haven't had a can of soda in front, but I guarantee you a can of soda is at least 75 carbs, I would say.
Yeah, if it's a large one, a small one is about 38, but you can get into the 70 range easily with the larger ones.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, I could drink a six pack of any carbonated beverage. I don't think that's. I got teenage nieces and nephews that can drink a six pack of Sprite. I mean, so that's crazy to me. That I would think it's more like 500.
Right,
You know,
right.
I
Well, I
mean,
think for many of us it is. It is.
who eats 100 carbs a meal? I mean,
Yeah.
eating 100 carbs a meal, you're in to me in a small percentage of Americans. You can drink 100 carbs a meal.
A lot of people don't even know where those liquid we used to get those Green Machine smoothie drinks that we
Yeah,
thought were being healthy, and they
yeah,
just one of those is like 68 carbs,
yeah.
you
So
know? Yeah.
350, that's breakfast.
Yeah, that's right.
So for a lot of people, you get a couple of pancakes and a waffle and a muffin and some orange juice, man. Yeah. So anyway, to answer what Fr. Humphrey was saying, to me, concentrate, especially if you're being on what you can do
Mhm.
and sustainably do and comfortably do, and then use that as a foundation to build on. If you're eating 500, carbs a day, which I think is probably what most people are eating,
Mhm.
going carnivore is probably not going to work for you.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
not going to sustain it. You're not going to hold on to it, and you're going to go work on getting down to 300.
Mhm.
Work on getting down and then build from there. Work on getting to 200 and 100, and then go where you can go. But the most important thing is to know. Listen, we talked about that before. I don't like the whole carnivore keto for dirty this, dirty
Mhm.
that. I understand it. When people ask me what I am, I tell them what I am just to because to fit in or whatever. But I like the idea of the carb number. We know our numbers for our glucose and our A1Cs and when our blood pressure. We know those numbers. What's your carb number? What is your average carbs a day that you generally eat on a normal day for you? And I don't care if it's 5 or if it's 500. Knowing that number, gives you power to make some changes and some choices in your life. And that's what I stress to people as a ketogenic evangelist, which is what I consider myself. Just making people aware of the carbs that they're eating is a win. That's a victory for me. If
Mhm.
somebody comes to me and like, man, I was thinking, and I ate 452 carbs yesterday.
Mhm.
I'm like, I got you.
Mhm.
Now we can go, great. Well, tomorrow let's do 451. How about that?
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not gonna be going off on this guy about ketosis and linoleic acid and seed oils. Man, he's still got a candy bar in his hand.
Mhm.
I mean, so you gotta get in to the program, start being aware of the carbs you're eating, and then work to reduce that carb number as low as you can, and something that you can comfortably sustain. And once that becomes habit forming to you or comfortable for you, work to minimize. That's what I did. That's what I had to do because
Yep.
I wanted to sustain this thing for my life, and I
Okay.
I wasn't going to starve myself. I wasn't going to go jump into something that I knew I wouldn't sustain. It took a while, but now I'm there, and it's very easy for me at this point, and I know that I can do this for the rest of my life. It's not even a question. It's
Yeah, I love that. Look at MR Stoner uh, and Dr. Hampton. I love going on long bike rides, which is amazing. I crave all in caps carbs afterwards. What options are there for this situation? I think about that, and I still try to get people to stay on their plan as much as possible. Even though Dr. Eric Westman would say, be careful with the seeds and nuts if you're going to crave them, but they are high in fat and protein. So I would kind of, if you don't have an issue with seeds and nuts, making you want to overeat, I would actually think about a healthy version of a trail mix is a great way to go. I love boiled eggs. I mean, we used to, we thought it was Easter at our house, man. We would always have boiled eggs all the times. So we would keep those available. So after you run, if you grab some boiled eggs, that may be healthy. If you like yogurt, you can get you a Greek yogurt. Never, ever, ever buy low-fat yogurt, but get you a Greek yogurt. That may be something to think about as well. If you're not carnivore like myself, maybe you can grab some berries. But those are the things that come to mind. I don't know if that's something you can add any thoughts to, my friend, in terms of what to eat
Yeah, yeah, you got to get rid of that bike. Yeah, yeah. If it's only you have to bike ride, you got to get rid of that bike, bro.
You know what? We're
Hey,
gonna
don't
end
ask me
it.
if you don't want the answer, Doc. I'm just telling you. Don't ask me if you don't want the answer.
Oh my
But
God.
you know, I don't know this person. I don't know what their goals are. I don't know how much they weigh.
That's
If
right.
you're going on long bike rides, brother, you probably don't got the same problems I got. Because
Mhm.
I'm not going on no long bike ride. Okay, so if you're at that level of fitness to where you're taking long bike rides, man, have a bag of chips or something, brother. I mean, I'm just saying, to me, that's a high quality problem. When I get to the
Mhm.
place where I can take long bike rides, I ain't going to give 3/4 of a damn
Mhm.
about what kind of carbs I,
Mhm.
don't go. I'm not saying, go get a supersized McDonald's, you know, lunch, but you know, I don't know. That's
Well,
my. I'm not. Again, I'm the world's foremost expert on my
mhm.
opinion.
Yep, yep.
So, in my opinion, if you're in shape enough and doing well enough, I wouldn't beat myself up. That
Yeah, and
way.
I think that's a nice message. Like, there are plenty of keto friendly things you can consume,
Yeah.
but people who are more active, if you think about our good friend Dr. Paul Saladino, I mean,
Mhm.
he's a carnivore who now eats fruits and honey, but he's also a freaking statue. Right? So he's
Yeah.
really very active. He surfs, he does all of these things that will burn those things. So you have to kind of individualize. If you're a person who's working in an office and you're not exercising,
Right.
it
Right.
may, but obviously you are if you're riding your bike. So that kind of
Yeah.
solves that problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it. That's my overarching philosophy. You got to live your life and don't beat yourself up. There's no judges here. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. I think that's my overarching theme. I think it's easy to beat yourself up over the little things, but focus on the big things. You're exercising, you're ketogenic, living a ketogenic lifestyle, man,
You're very unusual because most
Oh, I know
people,
that.
yeah, amen to
They
that.
call us weirdos, doc. They call us weirdos.
Well, I listen, man. I was sick being around you in Orlando because you were hurting my stomach, having me laugh, and you have a natural ability to make people laugh. And I do want to do a shout out to Humphrey again for staying obvious. He saw that video I mentioned, and the gentleman in the video said it with authority that fiber is necessary, and that's just absolutely when you in medicine, as a general rule, there is nothing you can say with authority. Like, medicine is the art of medicine. So for you to say with authority that you think you know what you're talking about, most of the nutrition science has been these observational studies that don't really show any type of conclusion. So for you to say you know something for sure is very untrue. Here's another comment. So good to witness more doctors encouraging low carb lifestyle. I started 5 or more years ago with keto, and now last 3 months mostly carnivore. You'll find a lot of people in the keto space, low carb space, move towards carnivore, but we want to make sure people understand we're not advocating for anything. We're just saying you listen to your body. Do what Russ does. He listens to his body. He does an experiment N of 1, N meaning the number of people in the experiment is one person, that's Russ, and he does what feels good to him. Clearly, he doesn't have a processed food addiction because he can go to Dunkin' Donuts in the middle of the night, break the rules, amen, and
I tell
then still get
you,
back on target.
look, I said
Oh,
Taco Bell,
Taco Bell, Taco Bell.
Dunkin' Donuts. Just come on, man, come on.
You're funny, man. Listen to this. I just bribed my 16-year-old grandson with his license. If he a ketovore, he passed up 2 grades and passed all his finals in this past Friday to graduate early. I think he may be hooked for life. That is amazing. And I will say this, man. I have my 20 to be soon to be 26-year-old and my 24-year-old. One, they're both kind of finishing grad school or have finished. And when they did keto plus intermittent fasting, I know you don't do the intermittent fasting necessarily, man, their grades shot through the roof. So when you get that mental clarity back and you get rid of that fatigue and all of that stuff, it does wonders for people who are taking that dietary pattern.
I haven't gotten to the place yet with the fasting. I'm still slowing. I don't understand that whole fast thing, but I got to eat every day, doc. I can't. And listen, God bless those folks if they've gotten to that place in their life where they can just not eat because they want to. Yeah, I've not gotten there yet. So
Well, that's
we'll see.
good.
Maybe down the road that'll work. But no, I got to get it in, doc. I got to.
I ain't mad at you on that. What about you? You started following Ken Berry, Dr. Bickman, and others, and one of the things that a conventionally trained doctor would think is that keto is gonna kill you. Um, what have you learned that has given you some confidence that that's not true?
Well, I'm not dead yet. So
Right.
I mean, but listen, I just follow the science, listen to the things they say, and also, I think we talked about. I went to Kelly Hogan, my zero carb life. She had a lot of older people on her channel. She had been doing it herself for like 13 years. So that was important to me to see people in their 60s and 70s. I saw a lady, I can't remember where I saw her, that was 80 years old that had been doing it for a long time. So, because again, I was very fearful of it. I didn't have any other health problems other than being heavy, and I didn't want any other health problems. And so I, poo-pooed it for years because I thought it would bring on other health problems if I'm sitting there eating bacon and butter all the time and stuff. So the medical establishment's part of that. I know there's got to be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people just like me who look at ketogenic life as, their doctors have told them this is terrible. It will kill you. It will hurt you. Don't do it. And so, like I said, I'm grateful for ketogenic doctors like you and other doctors who are saying, hey, this is, a different way. And here's some science to go with it. And it's up to everybody to do their own thing. And again, for some people, that's exactly why they tiptoe into it. Go jump in the deep end of the pool right away. They want to see what their blood work looks like after a few months of doing it. They want to see how they feel, because it's, again, there's so much for the average person to overcome, get into this life. Sometimes, especially people that have been doing it a while, I think maybe sometimes they forget. But you have to overcome not only your personal issues, your hunger, addictions, and your personal problems, but then you've got the medical establishment, your friends and family. There's just a lot. It's a lot of battles to fight all at once.
Yeah.
So you just, if somebody's out there listening, just go slow, do what you can do, make the changes that you can comfortably make and sustain, and then build and grow from there.
Yeah.
And live your life. You have to, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to do it. If you're miserable every day eating beef and water, you're not going to stick with it.
That's right. That's right.
Find a movement. On my site, we talk about moving, grooving, steadily improving. And that's what you do. Find a place where you can start and do it comfortably, and then look to improve, every day.
I agree. Crazy ketovore said they tolerated blueberries, but when they added the grapes, face got a little puffy. And I will say this: when although I tend to be more carnivore, when I'm having a ketovore moment and I'm eating berries, I do notice that the berries, they just react to your body slightly different than grapes. So there's something about how those berries work in your system that tend to not cause as much trouble. So I think that's probably explaining some of that. And of course, Carnivore Damon chimed in, about, yeah, those carbs per meals are pretty substantial.
Can I say something quickly?
Hmm.
The only berries I need in my life are Ken and Nisha. Holla,
Whoa, holla at your
holla
boy.
if you hear me. Shout out to my man Doc Berry.
Doc Berry, and I promise if they were, I know Keto Orlando, and for those who haven't done that before, Erica Bell sponsors it. She's an African American female, and when we had a little kind of ball slash party night, I saw Nisha dancing on that floor, and I'm gonna tell you something, and I'll say it out loud. I hope she don't mind. They played "Back That Thing Up."
Yeah.
And she did exactly that. And it was so funny to see some of the people I, respect, have learned from, who I work with, and just see them having a good time in a safe
Yeah.
space where everybody was doing this whole lifestyle change. So let's do a shout out to Peachy doing
Peachy,
a, hey, that's what I'm saying. I like that name. And, Carnivore Today chiming in again, carb. Uh, coma. That's so funny. Yeah, carbs will knock you out for sure. We got a little Southern thing. I know you're a Southern boy.
Oh,
Carnivore Kip barbecue, and look at that.
I'm a Buckeye. Thank you.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, Carnivore Kip, he's out there doing his thing. He's Smoke Daddy. That's what I call him. He smokes everything out there.
Oh, does he?
Hey, look, one time I told him, bro, if he smoked a pair of flip flops, I might eat them. I don't even know, bro. Were they new or did you find them, kid? Were they brand new? I might have to take a taste.
That's right. That is so funny. Well, shout out to Carnivore Kip. I'm definitely gonna. Does he have a YouTube channel too?
Yes, he does. That's
okay.
his channel right there, and he's got a smoker out there. He smokes everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check him out.
Don't need it.
That's what I'm talking about. And Roxana was actually a previous guest on my podcast. I think I met her at the what was called the Low Carb USA conference, which is now a symposium for metabolic health. My smoothies were way more carby, and I was still hungry an hour. Yeah, I remember smoothies. They will, even if you put the right stuff in it, they can still spike you. So there's nothing wrong with smoothies if you do it the right way. But they still spike because you're breaking down all of the fruit into, more digestible, easy to absorb form. So you're going to have problems with that. So I'm not surprised at all that you had that experience. And thank you for sharing that. She's very good at, coaching people and helping people as well. So she's sharing her story, but she does a good job of helping people. Now, let me ask you this, brother. I'm assuming there was some physical ailments you had to deal with. Have you seen improvements in any of those physical ailments since you started?
I'm telling you, I didn't have any.
You didn't have any?
No, I my only problem was being heavy. I fell and hurt myself. I don't remember the year, maybe 2019 or 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I fell down some concrete stairs and tore my knee up. And that's the only issue. I didn't have any problem. I didn't ever had an ache or a pain or anything until after that. And that's, again, I talk about it in my series that I did on my channel, that the spiral, that's really what the downward spiral that led me here, because I didn't have any of the problems that stereotypically I should have. And even now, my A1C is 5. I mean, my fasting glucose is 96. I didn't have, now my fasting insulin is 23. But I didn't have any of those problems. I just did a video on my channel with my blood work. I never had blood pulled. 53 years old. I'd never had blood work done. So I didn't have. My story is different. I was a happy fat guy in my 40s, and then I started, getting concerned about it around my mid 40s, and I fell and hurt myself. And I was laid up for a few months, and that's the downward spiral that really set me back. If I hadn't fallen, I don't know, what exactly would have happened, but that really was a big part.
Wow, so that moment affected you, but I think that's important.
I wasn't sick, I didn't feel bad,
Didn't have no problems, yeah.
nope, didn't
But
ever.
that's that's really important to share because, again, that's why we talk about metabolic health, because we're not focused on those numbers on the scale. We just wanna be healthy, be able to play with our grandkids, be able to, if we wanna go for a hike one day, like, for example, in your case, you shared that, just now, you know, you had some issues when you were in Keto Orlando, all that moving around that was
Yeah,
necessary. There will be a day when that's not gonna be an issue at all. It's just gonna be you're just gonna be moving around and won't even have to think about it.
yeah, man, I'll be running through there with a tracksuit like OJ in the airport, baby.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just every day. But I, like I told us several people, and I think I might even told you 3 months ago, I couldn't have made it to that summit.
Mhm.
No shot.
Right, wouldn't have made it.
I couldn't have made it from my car to my room. They'd have had to give me a B12 shot and an IV Gatorade. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
I couldn't have made it. So even though it was, I was running on fumes by the end of that thing, it was a blessing that I could even be there at all. And hey, pain lets you know you're still alive.
That's right.
You
You
know?
mentioned you mentioned something on one of the other episodes. You had this 90-10 rule. Could you talk a little bit about how you
Yeah.
approach?
For me, again, I say it all the time. I'm the world's foremost expert on my opinion. Okay. Nobody knows more about my opinion than me. And when I started this thing, I began with the end in mind.
Mhm.
I wanted to set up a life that I know I could sustain for the rest of my life. And that's how I went into it. It took me a long time to get to ketosis. I just started eliminating things slowly from my diet because I'm a creature of comfort, a creature of habit. And for me, I can't make big changes. It
Mhm.
doesn't work for me. I have to make gradual, slow changes. I have to get used to things, get comfortable with things. That's how my mind works across
Mhm.
the board, life, work, everything. I don't do well with big, gigantic changes. I will default back to my normal, back to what I'm used to. It's just
That's right.
how it works. So I knew that I had to create new normals for myself. I had to create new routines, new habits, new everything if I was going to do this for until I'm dead.
Mhm. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna revert back. So I just started. It's like your health, your diet. It's like a beautiful masterpiece, man. You just gotta chisel away at that thing little by little, until you get it where you want it. So
Mhm.
my 90-10 philosophy was just that. 90% of the time, what I do, that's my normal.
Mhm.
The other 10% that I do, that's not normal.
That's right.
There's gonna be times, it's you break it down, it's 36 days a year,
Mhm.
329 days a year. This is how I live. The other 36, I'm not that I'm counting them. I'm not, I don't have a calendar checking them off. Oh, I got 13 more days. Let me get to McDonald's.
Mhm.
No, it's not like that. But I just know there's going to be certain times, certain days, holidays, things like that, where I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care. I don't have cheat days. I don't fall off the wagon. I live my life.
Mhm.
I don't do keto treats. I don't do keto snacks. Although we did get a keto trick or treat bag at that conference.
We
Boy,
did.
I walk up to the desk. They said, "Welcome to the summit." What they should have said was trick or treat. Okay, because that bag was full of caramels and chocolates. I smashed them all the first night, Doc.
That's
Smashed.
right. That's right.
But I'm gonna live my life. I don't do all the keto treats and stuff. If I want a cookie, I'm gonna get a cookie, a real one, not a keto cookie. If I want a hamburger, I'm gonna get one.
That's right.
I don't beat myself up. I get right back on the program. Like I
Well,
said, I stopped at Taco Bell on the way home from the keto summit.
that's right.
1 o'clock in
Well,
the morning, and I stopped and had a burrito and a sweet tea. Who cares? Next morning, it was steak and eggs.
that's right. There's levels to this. Like,
Yeah,
and we were able to, one of the vendors was Keto Chow. So
yeah,
Carnivore Damon is probably spot on, because with that earlier question about riding a bike, craving, he's right. You when you're doing keto, carnivore, low carb, you have to think about your electrolytes. So Keto Chow, they sell electrolytes, So you can take those. They don't have anything really added to it. They're just electrolytes. And one of the things you have to be careful about is electrolytes that have, you know, things that are good for you technically, like stevia, monk fruit, but that sweet thing is probably not necessary. So, but Keto Chow also sells things like their shakes, right? So the question is, do you have to eat any of those things? And the answer is no. If you want those things and they, like, for example, I keep Keto Chow at my office so that if I forgot to bring something, I would have something to consume. However, I also another person who was at the conference was Dr. Boz, and she likes to keep in her bag sardines. So when she's hungry, she has sardines. That's a great travel tip too. So keep the sardines with you so that if you're traveling, you'll always have something you can grab that's really quick. So there's levels to this, and we don't really we want people to have awareness, but you do not have to do any of these things in particular. What I love about this community is that we have, you know, Carnivore Damon, we got Carnivore Kip, we got Roxana. She's sharing that a beef jerky. You have to be careful with those because some of the jerkies they add the sugar to it, but they have the beef jerkies you can do. So make sure it's a quality beef jerky. We have D. Lee chiming in and saying that the boiled eggs were a great idea. And then Carnivore Today, I was standard American diet one day and carnivore the next day and have not looked back in over 6 months. So he was more of a, in fact, when I listened to your episode with him, he was like, listen, I jump in the water and
Yeah,
you're like, you swim on the shallow side before you jump.
yeah. Man, listen, some people can cold turkey that thing. I got a hot turkey that thing. I'm gonna
Right.
tell you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just not my personality. God bless those guys that can just rip the Band-Aid off and all that. I'm not that guy. And there's a lot of people I think like me, and there's a lot of people like them. And the beauty of this thing is, yeah, we can all do it our way, and get where we want to go. Quick thing on the shakes, I call them the Bickman shakes, but
Mm-hmm.
they're actually I think Health Code is the name of the company
Mm-hmm.
of the brand. Dr. Bickman has developed a shake. I use it maybe once a week. I
Mm-hmm.
did take it with me to the summit, and I made a couple of shakes in the room, but it's a
Yep.
high protein, high fat, low
Yep.
carb shake that he developed, and I do like it. It's not a meal replacement, at least not for me. I don't know what kind of mosquito could drink that thing and go from it, but it is not for me. Hey, shout out, love Doc Bickman. God, hey, that's my guy. Probably saved my life, but I don't know who is thinks that, and I don't make it like most. Like they tell you to mix 2 scoops with 8 ounces of water. Yeah, that's enough to make me mad.
Mm-hmm.
I take 4 ounces of heavy cream and 8 ounces of unsweetened coconut milk and 3 scoops,
Mm.
and it's it tastes good. It mixes well. You can
Mm-hmm.
put a little sugar-free whipped cream or something on there if you really like that. But I never took any electrolytes or anything like that. But I do the Bickman shakes about once, maybe twice a week.
Yep.
Normally, in the later one of my the way I kind of go about it is one of my meals every day. I generally eat twice a day. I do snack some, but
Mm-hmm.
my one meal a day is zero carb, and then the second meal of the day is 15 or less carbs, and that's pretty much my routine. So if I do the Bickman shake, it's usually the second meal of the day. So I might have steak in a shake, or salmon in a shake, or some ground beef with a shake, or something like that. And it's pretty good, and it sticks with you a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Mix the cream and the almond milk, or the almond milk, or whatever kind of non-dairy. I mean, I don't do a ton of dairy. Um, Milk has too many carbs, so
Mm-hmm.
the unsweetened coconut milk only has 1 carb. So
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you're listening to your body and you're allowing your body to be your biggest guide. If you're not full when you're consuming something, that kind of defeats the purpose. Virgo, did I say virgin? Uh,
yeah,
I guess I'm the comedian now, right? So Virgo lady, and I appreciate your comments and meeting you at the summit as well. Brussels sprouts. are definitely low carb. Some people get gas from it. I'm one of those people, but low carb with steak, butter, that sounds like
Okay.
heaven.
Okay.
And charisma is from Crazy Ketovore, and went carnivore today. Went carnivore from ketovore and still became besties with the bad.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, yeah, making change is a trip. Some people do the Jason Fung approach, which is the intermittent fasting. It is the fastest way to get off of insulin, but you got to do it with a doctor who understands it. Carnivore Damon started doing keto, then transitioned to carnivore, which is a lot of people, and he
Yeah.
lost a ton of weight, 172 pounds, which is insane. But we wouldn't recognize him. I'm sure he walks by
Yeah.
people and they don't know who he is, and that's crazy. And
Yeah,
that's why.
he tells him he just got out of rehab. I was on crack. So check out his channel, man.
Oh my goodness.
That's my man. D
You're
Holly.
you're a crazy
And
man.
that's
Well,
what I'm gonna tell people, man. If I ever get down that pill, oh my God, I didn't even recognize you. Oh, what did you do? Oh, I was in rehab. I just got out of I just smoking crack.
that is crazy. Carnivore Damon, you're killing it. We appreciate you. And, the people are enjoying the wisdom from our colleagues, Dr. Barry, Chafee, Westman. Dr. Westman, he may be at the symposium. Of course, the great Sean Baker as well. And then this comment here from Mr. Stoner. My doc, after seeing I lost 40 pounds, my blood pressure was below the goal, asked what I was doing. She freaked when I told her I ate once a day. And I'm not sure why she freaked, because our ancestors, they would skip a day sometimes. So, you got to eat when you can. We have belly fat to feed us when we're not eating. And again, our colleagues, our clinical colleagues, don't get a lot of education from a nutritional perspective. How are you managing your sleep? Has that ever been an issue for you?
I just go to bed, Doc.
That's it.
I don't know what to tell you. When I get tired, I go to bed. What do you mean manage the sleep? I don't know what that means. I just go to sleep. Doc.
You just go to sleep.
Hey, look, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Do I need to manage this thing? Do I need a sleep management?
Yeah, you got to get one of those Oura rings and put that on your finger. And
I just get into bed. And yeah.
That's crazy. No insanity. I have an appointment with a new cardio doc next month, and he is carnivore. All right. I am so excited to see. Yeah, I'm excited for you. For all those who are looking for metabolically trained docs, the Low Carb USA has it on their site. Symposium for Metabolic Health has it on their site. Diet Doctor has it on their site. So there are multiple sites that you can search. Now, it's hard to find doctors who are trained in this space, but that number is going to grow. And I'm thinking we're going to be able to celebrate more and more doctors like myself and others who are doing this work, more and more people like Russ who are sharing their stories. And it's all good. Day 3, doing okay, meeting up with family next month. It might be rough, but I'm ready. So you can either decide I'm going to just let loose on those days, or you can decide to think about what's going to be the meal choices. And sometimes you have to plan ahead. Sometimes I've even gone, when I was a plant-based guy and it was almost impossible to be with family, I would literally just go there with a full belly. I would just eat before I go. And because it was all about being social, because when you were at the conference, Russ, you spent a lot of time interacting with us in between during those sessions. So sometimes
I didn't go to a single session.
right. So there you
And
go.
about 5 minutes of Dr. Barry's session. I mean, I'm just my attention span is kind of short. I don't, and you see them online all year long.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was there I'm a man of the people.
Mm-hmm.
I was there to meet people, mix and mingle, and make friends and hear stories, and I got 10 times more out of the people. I mean, I've seen Dr. Barry country food I still seen him a million times on you know, I don't hearing him in person. I wanted to meet him, shake his hand, and thank him for what he's done to help me. Now
Mhm.
that is something I definitely want to do. But I hear him speak 3 times a week. For me, it wasn't a lot to hear him in person. Um, but I understand that some people like that, enjoy that. But I was there to meet people, like-minded people, and to hear their stories, and that's what I enjoyed the most, and that's what I went for.
Yeah, well, I felt that, and that's how we got to know each other. We were literally during a session. I think it was Doctor. It was our cholesterol guy. That was there speaking. I'm thinking of his name right now, but it'll come to me in a moment. But during one of those sessions, we literally was chatting, and then I saw the second half of that. So DL square. When moving to a keto lifestyle, do I need to work with a doctor first to help me ensure I am eating the right amount of macros? So I don't know that I don't really encourage my patients to count macros unless they are that type of personality. The key to keto, low carb, or carnivore is to reduce the carbs. So if you reduce, so the only thing I would count is the carbs. And if your carbs are at a level that's, if you're trying to be in ketosis, you may have to be under 50. Some people like Dr. Eric Westman would put you down to 20 or 30 total, not net carbs per day. Ketovore kind of starts at around 10 carbs per day. I would focus on that. Do you really need to see your doctor to do that? Probably not. It's always a good idea to get some baseline labs, though. So now, if your doctor will allow you to get the labs that I think about a fasting insulin. I think about a C peptide, A1C, your lipids, which includes your triglycerides and HDL. I would kind of make sure you get those things. I would get a baseline calcium score test. I would do that as well. So that's how I would approach that. I just realized, my friend, that we're gonna make this an hour live stream because me and my wife got a
Yeah.
kind of a date. So I'm looking at the time and I realized that we're getting close. So I just want to kind of do a shout out to everybody who's joined us tonight. And before you say any closing remarks, what I want to if anybody has questions that they want to share that we couldn't get to during the live stream, just comment after the video is over and we'll circle back and I'll make sure Russ sees questions that are for him and I'll do the ones that are for me. But I just wanted to just kind of put that out there. So Russ, as we kind of wrap up this live stream, when I'm hoping to do this again,
Mhm.
what kind of closing remarks would you share with those who joined us tonight?
Hey, just quickly, same thing on my channel. I don't respond to a lot of the comments like on the computer, but I do when I do my videos. I will answer your questions if you do have a question or a comment. So definitely stay tuned for that, and I try to answer everyone. I just tell people to be encouraged and to find where they fit in. You don't have to look. It's not a race. You're not racing anybody. You don't. There's no judges. When you measure yourself by somebody else's ruler, you'll always come up short. Worry about your path that you're on to health. You don't have to look to the left and the right. You just keep it between the lines and find where you fit in. Don't get worried about the classifications. Dirty this, dirty that. Clean this, clean that. Figure out what your carb number is, how many carbs you generally eat on a normal average day, and work to get that as low as you can sustain comfortably. And then look to improve from there, baby. Moving, grooving, steadily improving. That's how we do it, baby.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the community. And yes, that was Dave Feldman. Roxana, thank you for dealing with this version of dementia I got right here. So Dave he'll get me later. He was actually fussing because I came late to his talk. And so
Oh,
he has another reason to fuss at me.
yeah.
So but this has been a lot of fun. Hey guys, you have to subscribe to my friends YouTube channel, Homesick Buckeye, because you will follow someone who will not only allow you to see his journey, but he'll make sure you laugh. He'll make sure you're inspired. And honestly, that's what this is all about. Why not enjoy the journey as we all work to achieve metabolic health? So for those who joined us tonight, I really, really appreciate you guys. I hope it added value. I'm going to try to do a live most Sunday nights. I won't be doing a live next Sunday because I'll be traveling back from San Diego. But hopefully in the future, we'll do some lives where I'm either teaching something with some slides or having a phenomenal guest like Russ to join us. So thank you again. Thank you, Russ, for being here on this live stream with Dr. H. And until we do it again, guys, continue to be safe, be well, and continue to protect your